Welcome to season 3 of the Venue Success podcast, where every episode this season is a quick, actionable tip from Tirzah to help elevate your venue. And today I have my lovely husband, Bradley, here.
Hello.
Little side note about Bradley. We were at the wedding MBA in the fall, and I kept telling people he was my side piece. I'm not good with words
That is
sometimes.
not
What was I supposed to call you?
our candy. Side piece is very different.
It was really funny. It became like the joke of all wedding MBA because I just, yeah, somehow that got stuck in my head. Anyway, so this season is something that had been just really top of mind, that there's just all these like kind of random things that I wanted to share with my listeners. And so today is one of those slightly random things, but also really exciting for us. And you've probably, if any of you have followed me for a while, you know about Marriage Bound, hopefully. And if today is the first time you're hearing about it, I'm really excited to be able to share more with you, a little bit more than just some random posts on our social media. So, Bradley and I actually shared about this at the wedding MBA.
With quite a response.
Really, truly,
A
like,
lot of nodding heads in the crowd.
yeah,
A lot of people very excited about
yeah,
this thing.
it was pretty cool. Like, I was like, well, people really want to come because we called the title the venue side hustle, and there was like standing room only. People were seated everywhere, like on the floor, and they were just extremely excited about what we're going to share with you today. So let me jump right into explaining a little bit more about what this whole marriage bound thing is. But one of the things that has always bothered me is that we as humans don't know what it is about us, that we don't choose well or don't know how to stay well. But the statistics are 50% of the marriages end in divorce. And so, obviously, for us as venue owners, it's like right in our face all the time. We're working with these couples, and sometimes it's apparent pretty quickly that these people should not be getting married. And true story, I've talked people out of getting married before. Like once they sign a contract, I try not to do that. I have because my heart so deeply cares about humans in general, and I feel like it's a really, really big decision.
It's often happened with a lot of gratitude from the couples who've done that
Yeah.
before. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times they needed somebody else to say it. They had no one speaking that. They just had a lot of nodding heads and a lot of yes men and yes women around them saying, "Yeah, get married. This is great. It's fun and exciting." And they never had maybe a counselor or some kind of mentor sit them down and go, "This doesn't look good." And so, yeah, it was always seemed to be a lot of appreciation from those you did that for.
Yeah, I was standing at the top of the stairs once, and I've shared the story on the podcast before. And a woman looked at me before she went down the aisle and she was like, "Why am I doing this? Divorce is so expensive." Literally, as she's dressed in veil getting ready to walk
Her
down the
last
aisle.
words is single person.
Yeah, and I'm like, that is so sad. And so one of the things that was a priority for Bradley and I as venue owners, as wanting to always think about how can we go above and beyond for our couples, is that we offered them a free premarital course. And we used to do it in person, and we had food and all this stuff, and we it was a big ordeal. And then after COVID, we started doing it online. We actually had a bigger response when we transitioned it to being online.
We live in a virtual world now.
Yeah.
This is just what people look for. They want the convenience of it. And it really, I think, increased people's comfort level with the whole experience.
For sure. Really the thought was like we spend so much time planning these people's a dinner party, like bare bones, right? A dinner party for these people. And so little time planning and preparing for the marriage, the commitment that they're making to each other. And so you just think about like what happens after the wedding day. Some of us have heard these stories of people that get like post wedding blues, that they just they're so caught up in the planning of the experience. And then it's just, they get kind of depressed after. And anyway, that's not what this episode is about. But I think one of the things I want to highlight, you hear me talk a lot about Gen Z, and they want to connect with their wedding pros. And this is a really cool way for a venue to be able to connect in a deeper way. And we're going to kind of explain that to you as we go on. But really the heart of where we were at is that we wanted to help people be more prepared for their marriage. And we wanted to really do something that made us as a venue stand apart, which was pretty cool. So, and we've worked with thousands of couples, right? Like we had 100 to 130 weddings a year at our venue. And so, again, we've done this. I mean, we've had hundreds of people attend, and again, like, after COVID, we would have a session, and I have to just tell you, that's why Bradley's here today. I have the ideas, and sometimes Bradley has the implementation. I had got 2 new business ideas in the last 24 hours.
This
Okay.
Yes. I'm brushing my teeth and she's just, throwing ideas out there. So yeah, we did these for people and it was kind of a unique thing and offering. And my background was as a minister. Performed a lot of weddings as an officiant and I always offered premarital counseling one-on-one with people. And when we took over the venue and really wanted to implement some of our own ideas, doing this really just felt like we were giving that extra value to couples, showing that we genuinely cared. And it's kind of a risky thing, especially when you bring in some faith elements. No one was required to do this. It was just a free offering. Any client could show up if they wanted to. What was most surprising was the incredible feedback we got. We never had someone attend and not like it. Not one person. In fact, the feedback was overwhelming of people just saying, "This was great. We wish it was longer. We'd love to do more." I would get a lot of requests of, "Will you meet with us one on one and do like full premarital counseling?" I'm like, "Well, we're in contract for your wedding." That becomes a little bit of a conflict of interest. And, I would try to refer them to some places, but encourage them to pursue that because it's incredible how many couples these days kind of set aside that whole idea of maybe we should get ourselves mentally and emotionally prepared for being married before it actually
Well,
happens.
what's interesting is that people set their budget for their wedding, and they've got their photographer and their DJ and their caterer and, blah, 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 all of these things, but is there a line item ever for premarital? And it's like that thing that just goes down, down, down the list and maybe isn't even on their radar. And I think that there was a time, uh, that premarital was a bigger deal. I think in more religious circles, premarital is a bigger thing. I know even in the Catholic Church, they're not gonna marry you unless you go through their set of sessions that they have. And so I know, yeah, so it's tricky for people because if you did not grow up in a church setting or don't have access to that or your church doesn't offer it or whatever the
Or you
case
just don't have the time.
or the time, right? How are you supposed to do this thing? And so it's not necessarily that couples don't want to. They might not be thinking about it. They might not have access to it. And
If they don't have that contact to do it for free with a minister, they've got to go to a professional, and professional counseling is costly, often $150 to $200 per session.
so if you want to have at least 6 to 8 sessions with someone, that becomes, very, very expensive ordeal. Worth it? Absolutely. But again, not everyone understands the priority of that. One thing that I am truly excited about with Gen Z, and we still have some millennials getting married too, of course, but is they really are into this. They're really into it because they want deeper connection. There is a huge influx of Gen Z. They're actually leaving social media because they're just kind of overstimulated by it. It causes them anxiety. Both of our kids have made the choice to not be on social media. And so it's just a really interesting dynamic that we have. And so we're really thinking about how can we combine the need that we saw with really easy accessibility, and I think that is why we decided to do this. Now, after we sold our venue, so at the time of this recording, it's been about 9, 10 months since we sold it was actually one of the things that Bradley and I talked about a lot that we felt sad about not being able to participate in that anymore at our venue. And so, of course, the brushing teeth ideas in the morning, I'm like, "Bradley, we should take this public." And so we're gonna tell you a little bit today about how we did that. So we just wanted to create a platform that was, again, affordable and convenient for couples and that anyone could have access to. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about what Marriage Bound actually is now that we've talked about why we created it.
And really, it's one of the few favors that COVID did for us by creating this virtual world and realizing that people really responded to this in a virtual setting. Always wondered if that would even work, people would be receptive to it. But there was something nice about couples sitting down, and we would encourage them to turn it into a date night. Sit down, have a glass of wine. I'd even tell them you can have your dinner while we're doing this. Just keep your microphone on mute. And couples were just all smiles and they enjoyed the activities. We'd play fun little games and give them really good content. Tirzah morning routine idea that she had was, well, if they would do this on Zoom with you teaching live, would they do this in an online platform where it's pre-recorded? And, that was not a very big leap to make. So we took the curriculum that I'd already been teaching for years and helped a lot of couples, just get off to that good first step in their marriage. And we said, let's expand that. Let's make it bigger. Let's get it recorded, a lot of the same content with some extra add ons. Let's create a workbook that they can work through so they can do all the same little activities, some additional discussion, the same games that we used to play, and really enrich that conversation that happens after the session, because it was always my belief that the conversations that were spurred were where the real premarital counseling took place. It is the biggest goal of any premarital counseling is get the couple talking about things that maybe they haven't discussed, uncover a few things that maybe they haven't really wanted to address, and get them talking about it. And we really just felt like this was going to package well. So what we've done is we've created 8 main sessions that cover some of the big things that you need to discuss before getting into marriage. Things like communication, dealing with conflict, what strengths you bring to the marriage, why do you get married in the first place, what are the purposes in marriage, some of these big things. And each one of those comes with activity and discussion questions for the couple to really dive into those. And then after the 8 main sessions, as kind of additional information, we created 3 deep dive sessions, really hitting some specific topics like finances, sexual intimacy, family planning, these important conversations that really should happen before you say your I do's. And then along with it, like I said, a downloadable workbook, just something, a quick PDF that they could download, they can print off what they want, or just simply refer to electronically, keeping it very cost effective and accessible in an online platform.
So there are other, we did our research before we did this because we're like, who else is doing this? And obviously, there's other people that have online premaritals. However, we just had a different spin with it. And I feel like what we're doing, I haven't seen before, is because, you all know my love for venue owners and wanting venue owners to be successful and added income streams and all these things that I talk about on a business level all of the time. And so, of course, I'm going to take that piece of it and want to meld it with this. And we've created an affiliate program for any wedding pro, honestly. But on this podcast, we're talking specifically mostly to venue owners, and so it's a way that you can actually be offering something really valuable to couples, even if they don't book at your venue, which is
Which is
super
incredible.
cool. Like, I mean, when we tell people that, and it's like, okay, well, if you do 50 tours a month and, maybe only hopefully more than this, but say 20 of them become customers, you still have this other 30 tours that came that would be getting information about the service where they can, you could be making 100 bucks a pop every time someone uses your affiliate. So we'll talk to you a little bit more about that. But, there's just a lot of things that we do to add value at our venues that are actually a lot of work. Like, remember my other idea was this was years ago. We need to have a photo booth. Like, talk about what a pain
Why not get that rental income? But frankly, they're a lot of work. It's a lot of setup, tear down, learn technology,
that.
all the things, making sure your text messages go out, A2P verification, all these things that the government now requires. Yeah, there's a lot that goes on, and hopefully you have a techie person on your staff that can kind of manage those kinds of things. It's a great add-on, but it's a lot of time and effort to make that happen. Everything we add on seems to come with a cost in that respect, that it's going to cost something of your time. We wanted to make this super accessible and make it something for you as the wedding professional that you didn't have to manage. You simply could refer people to it and make a commission off their purchase. And then we would manage it. We would take care of the updates. We would take care of the material. You don't have to create it. You don't have to maintain it. You simply need to refer people to it. And the affiliate program makes it very easy. Once you sign up and go into your portal, one of the very first things you see is your own unique referral link. You can use that link or make it into a QR code and put it on your materials, put it in your tour packet. And like Tirzah said, even if they don't book with you, if they use your link, you make a commission.
Yeah. So one of the things that we worked really hard to create for you is a portal inside of, when you sign up as an affiliate, you get this portal that has so much incredible information we've already done for you. So, whether it be like postcard size advertisements that you could add your QR code, full sheets if you want to stick that inside of your tour folders. We wrote a bunch of content for you, like emails that you would send out to clients. And gosh, what else
Social
is
media.
it? Social, oh my gosh, yeah, tons of social media posts that you can be putting in your stories with your direct link. So many different ways that you could be sharing this. I have a friend that I was just with a couple days ago at the Venue Masterclass, and they were telling me that it's something that they added to their final meetings, that they hand them the sheet that we created and told them, how excited they are about being able to offer this to them. And so some people have asked us, what if we just bought it for all of our couples? And I guess I feel, number one, that's very nice of you. Very, very nice of you. The hesitancy that I have about that is that when people get something for free, they don't often value it as much as if they had made a personal investment in it. And I would say, like, even we have personally gifted it to several people, even people in our family, and they're not using it, right? And so I would say people should buy it. It's a pretty low investment. It's just a few $100.
Yeah, when you're
Yeah,
spending thousands of dollars on
tens of
I
thousands.
guess it's right, tens of thousands. Yeah, adding on a few $100, it seems like a small expense to put into your wedding budget.
Yeah, for sure. So I always think about it in terms of this. So as a venue owner, if I had extra $500 a month and I didn't have to do really hardly anything to get that $500 a month, that pays for my Google ad. When you think about it that way, that pays for my social media person. That pays for, whatever it is. I always like to think, hey, if I could make this money, how can it actually support my business in a really positive way? Or in $500, gosh, do that a few times and you could actually take a vacation with your spouse or your kids, whatever. So just thinking about it that way really is just it can be a tremendous asset, right? Gosh, what if you sold 10 a month, $1,000? That is really for a lot of you that I know aren't even taking a paycheck at your venue. This is actually a really big deal. Let me be clear about something. We did not start Marriage Bound to become rich. Like, that is not it at all. There's a huge amount of investment monthly that goes into the platform that we're using and our time and all of that. And the fact that we are giving a third of it to affiliates, right? So this was not a cash grab for us at all. But this is something that we genuinely hope will have a positive impact on couples that really desperately need it. That's the bottom line. And the bonus on the side is that if it could help venue owners have and venue pros have additional revenue, great. I mean, who's going to turn that down? But at the end of the day, it's like, how can we help couples rise to this big commitment that they're making in their life and be able to set themselves up for success?
And it's something you get to feel really good about sharing.
Exactly.
This isn't something where you're just asking for more money for some little trinket that's added on to their wedding. Yeah, we should be doing those kinds of things, lots of add-ons and upgrades. But this is something when they walk away, you feel like, wow, I hopefully have given them a gift that is going to set them up. And I mean, in the wedding business, we don't really want repeat customers. We would love for people to have find success in their relationship, and kicking out some of these issues and having a good conversation about it ahead of time is one of the chief ways we can be doing that. So let's encourage our couples that way. You can walk away just feeling like you have given a genuine value add to your client.
Yeah, I love that. So you can go over to our website. We'll definitely put the link to marriagebound.net.
Yes. .net.
In our show notes. You can feel free to email us. Also, I just want to respond to one of the more common questions that people have, because you heard that Bradley said he has a background as a minister. The question being, is this going to be a course that is comfortable for anyone if they don't have a faith based perspective? Yes. The short answer is absolutely yes. The principles are kind of like, how would you say that? Like, the biblical principles are things that most people, even if they don't have a Christian background, would be like, yeah, that's like
Or common
common
sense.
sense. There is one session that is definitely more overtly faith based, but we mark it and we're like, hey, this is not a session that you have to take. If you want to, we really, really hope that you do, but you're not going to miss out on something um pivotal. Well, We think it's pivotal, but I mean, they could skip it if they want to, basically, but we let them know.
Yeah,
And
it's
so,
marked and it's addressed in the previous session of we would love for you to spend the time investing in this, but if that is not your worldview, feel free to skip session 4, move right on to session 5, and they'll still get all the relational content they need for their marriage.
yeah, for sure. So we want to be sensitive to that, but we are unapologetically faith-based people. Anyone that knows me knows that to be true. And so there's definitely elements of that. But again, there is a huge desire for couples that are getting married right now. I don't know if you've seen the statistics of this, of people that are actually going back to church and wanting to put their kids in Sunday school and like things like that. Like it is a priority to a lot of this up and coming generation. So,
Yeah, in the years we did this live with our couples, either in person or over Zoom, not one person walked away offended about the faith-based elements. We tried to handle it very tactfully. We addressed it. We said, this may not be your worldview, but please listen because we think you'll like the principles. That's just the perspective I come from as a former minister, and I've seen it work in a lot of relationships. Again, not one complaint in 10 years of doing this with couples. They all walked away with, just really feeling good about what they had just learned and feeling like it was going to add to their relationship, whether or not faith was their worldview.
yeah. And I will just close with saying this. If you're one of those people that you listen to us, but maybe still don't trust what it is that we've created, I don't know another word to say. If you want to see it for yourself before you share it with your couples, we are happy to do that. Handle with care, basically. This is a curriculum that we have created to be something that is monetized for sure. But at the same time, we understand that if you want to put your stamp of approval on something, that you might want to just take a quick look at the materials yourself. And again, like we're very happy to do that for you for your
Yeah.
personal use.
If that's the case, you simply just need to sign up as an affiliate. The sign up is very easy. And then you send a quick email to hello@marriagebound.net and say, hey, I just signed up, signed my agreement and all the kinds of things. I would love access to the curriculum so I can personally view it. And then we'll go into your portal and we'll put the curriculum in there so you can look at it. It's not automatic because we don't want the affiliate program to be a backdoor to get the curriculum for free for anybody. But you, as a venue owner, if you plan on marketing this thing or are thinking about it, absolutely, we will give you a free look at the content.
Yeah, for sure. So, anyway, I hope that today this has been something that had just spurred some excitement in you about something that you can do to add value to anyone that visits your venue, to be honest. And that's the other thing I want to say, like this whole social media element of it. So, even like, so yeah, you're sharing it at your tours and with your clients, like there's still this whole nother element. You could create some type of, highlight on your social media that is just about the marriage bound program so that it's just living evergreen out there so that anyone that's looking at your socials can have access to it. I mean, gosh, wouldn't that be such a cool thing if Marriage Bound was a national name that we knew that we as venue industry pros cared about marriages? There's a lot of conversation right now that is like, "Oh my gosh, the wedding industry is out of control. People are just charging an arm and a leg." And, that there's just, and honestly, I kind of agree with that in a lot of ways. But this is such a powerful, amazing way for us to give back to this new generation that really needs the marriage support. So that is all we have for you today, my friends. Thank you for joining me,
It was
Bradley.
good to be here.
We've been married this year we will be celebrating our 26th wedding
She's
anniversary.
put up with me for that long.
It's true, friends. It's true. It is mutual for sure. But anyway, that's all we have for you today. We will see you next time on the Venue Success Podcast.